Hey guys, it's Doug Giles with Creative Restorations. Thought I'd do a video for you today about pool tables. Now this isn't going to be your typical pool table video where I'm going to teach you about how to do something on them. Now this is actually going to be what to expect when you buy a pool table online. Now, my buddy David and I were on our way to go pick up a pool table at a freight company right now. And this is actually a table that a customer purchased online. And we're being contracted to go out and do the install on it, the brand new install. So I figured this is a good opportunity to discuss, if you buy a pool table online, exactly what you should expect and how it might be better for you to do it this way, how it might be worse for you to do it this way, and what you could expect, what kind of hassles you might run into when you buy a pool table online. Now, like I said, we're on our way to the freight company. So if you buy a pool table online and you opt to either install it yourself, you either opt to install it yourself, or you're going to go out and go get your own installer to install it. Well, you can figure on having to have to go to a freight company to go pick up the table. So that's number one. Number two, when you get there to the freight company, you got to know what you're looking at, because the table is going to come. It's probably going to come on one, maybe two pallets. And if you're lucky, they may deliver it to your house. But if they deliver it to your house, chances are it's going to be in the back of either a full-blown 18-wheeler or a short 18-wheeler. And the trailer for that 18-wheeler is going to be pretty high. And you're going to have to get that thing off of there. Now, usually the truck driver will have a pallet jack in the back, and he can get it from the back, the very front of the trailer all the way to the back of the trailer, but you've still got to get it down from the back of the trailer and, out of the trailer and wherever you're going to put it. And usually the drivers are not going to help you unload a pool table out of the back of their truck. It's just not going to happen. So you need to be prepared for that. Now, if you go the route that we're having to have to do, which is go pick it up from the freight company, usually usually you'll have to schedule a time to go out there to go pick it up, to make sure that it's available, make sure that they don't have other things, that they're other trailers that they're unloading or transferring stuff from one trailer to another. You'll set a time when you go out there to go pick it up. But when you do that, you still have to know what you're looking at. Because like I started to say this a minute ago, when you get the table, it's going to be on 1 to 2 pallets. And you need to inspect that table. So, all right, red light here. I can look at the camera. So when you get there, you're going to have 1 or 2 pallets. And it's just going to have 3 pieces of slate and a whole bunch of boxes. Some big boxes, some little boxes. And about the only thing you can do right then and there is inspect those boxes and inspect the slate for damage. If you get there and it's been damaged, well, you can expect a huge delay in getting your table installed. It's just the way it goes. Now, this is no slight on anybody that works in a dock or anything like that, or works for a freight company, but freight damage happens. It's not uncommon for the guy running the forklift to run his forks clean through a box, destroy a table. I've seen it happen. And there's gonna be a percentage of tables that get sold online, that get shipped. There's gonna be a percentage of them that they're gonna be damaged. And you're going to be sitting there wondering, what do you do next? Should you accept the table? Should you decline? Decline receipt of the table? In other words, refuse the shipment? What do you do? Well, that's going to be up to you. If you refuse the shipment, it's going to go back to the manufacturer. They may not want to sell you another table because now they're going to have to pay to have that table returned. If you accept it, then you're going to have to deal with the company that you bought the table from and explain to them what parts are damaged, and then wait for those parts to get shipped again. So that's a problem. Now again, going back to all the boxes and the slates being on 1 to 2 pallets, usually when I go to pick up a table from a storage company, or I'm sorry, a freight company, I can look at the boxes and I can pretty much tell what box is going to be for what. So you're going to have one box there you might have the frame in one box. If it's a knockdown table, it's going to be a real thin box, and all of the parts for the frame are going to be in one box, one big box. If it's a solid frame table, then it's going to be one massive box with the whole frame in it. You're going to have a box with the rails in it. You're going to have a box with the legs in it. And you're going to have a box with hardware in it. You're going to have a box with cloth in it. Sometimes they'll put cloth and hardware and pockets and all together in one box by itself. And these are the kind of things that you're not going to know. And even sometimes we don't know when we go to do a table. We won't even know that all of the parts are there, or all of the, that we might have missing parts. We won't know that until we actually go to install your table. But we've got a better chance as an installer. We've got a better chance of making sure that all of the parts are there than what somebody who's never done a table before will. So anyway, that's some of the drawbacks. Now, a lot of times an online company will sell you the installation at the same time, in which case, like this table that we're going to pick up, we're actually doing the install for the manufacturer. If that's the case, then the installer is going to be the one to go pick it up. Usually, the installer is going to be the one to go pick it up from the freight company. The installer is going to be the one to do the inspection on it. But if something goes wrong with the not the installation, but the shipping of the table, don't get mad at the installer. He's not the one that messed it up. If for whatever reason he can't, if for whatever reason he gets there and there's an issue with that table, then he's probably going to call you up and say, look, we got an issue with the table. I got to contact the manufacturer. We'll see about getting the new parts sent in. So try not to give your installer a hard time about it. Another thing too, when you're if you do buy a table online and you've got the manufacturer is the one that's contracting the installer, let the installer get the table in and inspected before you start asking about delivery. He doesn't know. He has no clue as to whether or not the table is complete. He has no clue as to whether or not the table is damaged or not until after he's picked it up. So if your installer says, look, I haven't picked up your table yet, don't give him a hard time about when it's going to be installed. Now, if he's procrastinating going to pick it up, that's a different story. You can tell him, look, I need you to go pick it up so that we can get this underway. That's a totally different story. But if you find out from tracking that the table it just made it to the dock on a Friday, don't call your installer saying, when's my table going to get installed? Don't call him on Monday because he hasn't gone to go pick it up yet. Give him the opportunity to get out there to go get it and inspect it. He's doing it for you. He's doing it for himself so that he doesn't make a wasted trip out to your house, and he's doing it for you too. That way you don't take off of work and try to get this table installed. And like I said, if he hasn't picked up the table yet, he hasn't inspected it, he can't give you a definitive date as to when he can go out there and do the install. So anyway, keep those things in mind if you buy a table online. When we come back, we're going to cut away for a minute. When we come back, we're going to show you what it's like to pick it up from the freight yard. So see you in a minute. Anyway, so you go into the dispatch office. Again, I don't know if it recorded or not, but when you get to the freight company, you go into the dispatch office. Usually they'll ask for your driver's license. They can pull it up by your name, either by your name or by the sender's name. And if you're driving a pickup truck, you're going to have them, especially with a pool table, you're going to have them drive down with the forklift down their ramp so that you can get it loaded in. And their back down ramp is right over there. So we've got to look over the entire thing, make sure that everything looks good. Slate looks decent on this. And usually you'll need a knife to start cutting some of this stuff away. One more band around over here on the end of the slate. They double banded the slate, so. Now, the very next thing is going to be get all of this stuff off of the top of the slate. These appear to be legs. It is. Because the very first thing we want to go in the truck is going to be the slate. And everything else can go on top. Oh, one more band. David, if you wouldn't mind getting this out. We'll set this, lean it up against the truck for the moment until we get everything else in. This looks like it's a decent table, framed slate. Tilt down. Now, as you're pulling these slates out, you want to make absolutely certain that you inspect each one of them for cracks. Right there is good. All right. Push it over. Yeah, I guess it is. All right, so stuff that you should expect when you go to pick up a pool table. This is how you get it loaded into the truck. Again, slates go first. Everything else goes on top of it. When you get it over to wherever you're going to store it, you know, usually you lean the slates up against the wall. You absolutely, emphatically do not want to lay them on the ground. This is the only time, other than the table being on the, other than the slate being on the table, this is the only other time you want the slates laying flat. Slate legs. Set her in down in front of that box. Right there. Same thing? Yep.